2021 I decided to slow down by packing everything I need into a backpack, taking a train from Germany to Italy and setting out on an adventure, a crossing of the Alps. There are many ways to walk over Europe's highest mountain range, one of which is the so-called Via Alpina, a long-distance hiking trail that goes from Trieste in Italy all the way to Monaco, crossing every 8 Alp states while covering a total distance of over 2,500 kilometers. For the time being, I chose to hike only 600 kilometers along the Via Alpina, ending up on my home country's highest peak, the Zugspitze. As I never stood on top of Germany before, I couldn't think of a better way to change that fact. Why I didn't just take the cable car up? I started my run up to the Zugspitze in mid-July at the Adriatic coast in Trieste with a lot of excitement. My first goal was to reach Slovenia and climb its highest peak, the Triglav. It says that a true Slovenian must have climbed the Triglav at least once in his or her life. I wanted to become a true Slovenian, even though I wasn't sure if it worked that way. After leaving the noise of the city behind me, I entered a world of silence where only animals and the wind spoke to me. Putting one foot in front of the other was the only thing that mattered to me now. I passed the Slovenian border on the first day of my hike and went on over grassy hillsides and forest roads into the Alpine foreland, a great warm-up for the bigger mountains lying in front of me. At the beginning of the beautiful Triglav National Park, I wanted to take some last advice of the mountain goats how to properly climb a big mountain. But they were only laughing about all the fancy equipment I needed to survive in their living room, and quickly disappeared on paths where I had no chance to follow. Nevertheless, I made it to the top of Triglav, and so became a true Slovenian. To regain my German identity, I needed help of a beloved relevant, my sister Franzi. I met my sister on a campground in Kranička Gora, close to the border triangle of Slovenia, Austria and Italy. From there on, we would try to climb the Zugspitze together. Hiking with a partner is a completely different thing. Having someone to share every moment with can be more motivating and fulfilling. It can also be much easier to leave some responsibilities and some equipment like a tent or a stove to a second person, instead of carrying everything on your own. To me, hiking with Franzi meant having a lot more fun and not taking everything so seriously.
Mittlerweile ist uns jede Abkürzung willkommen.
But it also meant more compromises. Since setting out from Kranička Gora, not only did I feel responsible for my own pleasure and safety anymore, but also for that of my sister. This responsibility became a challenge when Franzi injured her foot on the 4th day of our hike, forcing us to take an unplanned break in the Austrian town Kötschach. Due to our limited vacation time, we decided that Franzi would stay 2 days in Kötschach to rest, while I would hike on alone up to the Italian town Sexten. After recovering, Franzi would take the bus to Sexten so that we could continue our mission together from there on. The plan worked out. But right after celebrating our reunion, Franzi and I were confronted with the next challenge.
Jumping up and down the floor, my hair is an animal, and once there was an animal. It had a son that mowed the lawn. The son was an okay guy. They had a pet dragonfly. The dragonfly ran away, but it came back with a story to say.
Eventually, the sun came back, and Italy offered great views of its famous Dolomites. Even more than the return of the sun, an unexpected encounter brightened up our rain-clouded minds. Fabian, who spends half his life as a teacher and the other half as a shepherd, friendly invited us to his hut. His goat milk gave us new energy for the last 200 kilometers of our journey. If not being supported by strangers, Franzi and I recharged our batteries in the villages and huts on our way. Hiking 20 to 30 kilometers and climbing up to 2,000 meters of elevation per day, our diet to stay energetic mainly consisted of cereals, ramen, couscous, tortillas, nuts, and lots of candy. In addition, the trail provided us with everything a hiker could ask for. We crossed the border back into our home country and soon had our final goal in sight. Just short of the Zugspitze, a flock of sheep blocked our way.
Lecker Salz.
Once again, our salty sweat was the price we paid to move on. On August 11th, after 30 days of hiking, we finally regained our German identities. The crowds of tourists at the summit of Zugspitze didn't pay justice to our triumph. The lonely descent on the Jubiläumsgrat for that even more. At last, we took a refreshing bath in the Alps at the foot of the Zugspitze. Very happy of what we had accomplished together. Very sad that a great journey had come to an end. But this will certainly not be the last time that Franzi and I find the mountains to slow down and fully take in all the wonderful things that life has to offer.